Good evening and welcome to the national news broadcast on Channel I. We're ready to bring you the top stories from home and around the world. I'm Natalia Virvadana.
A very good evening indeed. I'm Charity Miruparachi, and now let's move on to the headlines for tonight's news.
Import tax on several essential commodities has been relaxed effective from tonight. Chief Prelates confirmed that the statement made on the 20th Amendment yesterday was delivered without their consent. Monthly scholarship fee for the students of the Tower Hall Drama and Performance Arts School increased up to 3,000 rupees. Presidential Commission on Political Victimization issues notices on 21 individuals, including Sajith Premadasa.
On to those and other stories in detail now, and starting off with local stories. The import taxes imposed on dal, canned fish, big onions and sugar have been removed, stated President's Media Division. The government has taken the decision considering the current cost of living and difficulties associated with the COVID-19 pandemic. Accordingly, the prices of aforementioned items have been revised with effect from tonight. The renewed prices are canned fish large 200 rupees per tin, big onions 100 rupees per kilo, sugar 85 rupees per kilo. In addition, provisions have been made that when buying essential items, including the aforementioned items worth over 500 rupees from Sathosa outlets, the customer can buy dal at a price of 150 rupees per kilo.
Something that changes your life story. Litro Gas.
Chief Prelates of Amarapura Ramanyasama Grade 6 indicate that their consent was not granted for the joint statement issued by the Amarapura Ramanyasamagri Sangha Sabha yesterday over the 20th Amendment to the Constitution. The Chief Prelates made these clarifications while issuing a statement to the media today. Convening a media briefing, several bhikkhus, including the registrars of Amarapura and Ramanya sects, issued a statement citing that the 20th Amendment to the Constitution should be inactivated, while claiming it to be a joint statement. However, Chief Prelate of Sri Lanka Ramanya sect, Most Venerable Napane Premasirithera, addressing the media, said that the relevant statement was issued without his knowledge or the Sangha Sabha. The Chief Prelate also said that no discussion was conducted in this regard, nor he granted consent to issue such a statement. Acting Chief Prelate of Sri Lanka Amarapura sect, Most Venerable Gantune Asajithera, has also issued a statement to the media in this regard.
And meanwhile, core cabinet spokesman Minister Ramesh Patrana says that a country which had successfully controlled the COVID-19 crisis in the world, the government believes that the present situation in the country will also be managed in a positive manner. He made these remarks at the media briefing held to announce the cabinet decisions at the Government Information Department today. A total of 49 coronavirus-infested patients have been detected within the Developitiya COVID-19 cluster today. Accordingly, the total number of COVID-19 patients detected from the Developitiya COVID-19 cluster has increased up to 1,446 at present. 34 COVID-19 patients detected from the cluster yesterday have been identified as employees of an apparel factory in Katunayaka. A total of 7 employees of the Brandix company in Kolpiti have been tested positive for COVID-19. The health authorities have confirmed that all patients have been identified as residents in Colombo district. Also, they have been detected as close contacts of the COVID-infected patients of the Minivankoda Brandix. According to reports, the groups has been directed to self-quarantine. Meanwhile, several individuals residing in Borella area have been tested positive for COVID-19. Since these individuals had travelled to 6 locations including 2 hotels in the area, steps have been taken to temporarily shut down these places due to the movement of the individuals. Biosamples from the close contacts of the employees of the Minivankoda Brandix factory have been obtained for PCR test today. Sufficient biosamples from 400 individuals have been taken covering 8 Grama Seva divisions. A student of leading girls' school in Gampaha city have been tested positive for COVID-19 today. Accordingly, 80 close contacts including students of the school were directed to PCR tests. The National Institute of Education in Vavuniya has been transformed into a quarantine centre. The quarantine services will commence today. The curfew imposed in 18 police jurisdictions in Gampaha will remain in effect until the further notice. Sri Lanka Bureau of Foreign Employment has taken steps to provide insurance compensation for Sri Lankan migrant workers who had died from the COVID-19. Accordingly, documents of 14 Sri Lankan expatriates who had died from the disease have been directed to Sri Lanka Insurance Corporation. Compensation will be provided for the registered migrant workers as per the agreement reached between the Sri Lanka Bureau of Foreign Employment and Sri Lanka Insurance Corporation. A discussion was held for the factory owners and respective managements today to create awareness of the health guidelines to resolve the issues of the pertaining to the continuation of the apparel factories established in trade zones in Begama and Katunayaka in Gampaha district and across the country. The discussion was held at the National Operations Centre for the Prevention of COVID-19 in Rajagiriya. Speaking at a media briefing held at the Health Promotion Bureau today, Dr. Jarvan Pandara, the media spokesman of the Ministry of Health, said that COVID-19 is at a manageable level.
This is the third cluster we found in this country, that is a cluster found related to that Mirigama Appendix, the garment factory. So now the current situation is 1,552 patients are there in hospitals. Out of that, 1,396 patients are from that new cluster. So because of we can trace people and find out the contacts, and contact tracing is possible, still we can't declare this as community, there is a community spread, we can't say. So still we believe that we can contain this condition and successfully, still we trust that we can successfully control this newly appeared cluster also, that is 33rd cluster. The government has taken, Ministry of Health has taken many protective measures and many rules and regulations and many guidelines to control this disease. We expect in near future, maybe we can't exactly tell a time frame when it could be controlled or when it could be achieved, but we hope we can successfully control. We need public support to control this disease spreading in the society.
And now moving on to other stories from home. Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa has instructed the relevant authorities today to increase the monthly scholarship worth 2,000 rupees distributed to the students of the Tower Hall Drama and Theatre School up to 3,000 rupees. And the 5,000 rupees worth annual grant directed to high-performing students has also been increased up to 10,000 rupees. The relevant proposal was presented by State Minister Vidura Wickramanayake. The decision to increase the relevant payments was taken during meeting of the 296th Board of Trustees of the Tower Hall Theatre Foundation held under the patronage of Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa at the Temple Trees today. Director General of the Tower Hall Foundation, Attorney at Law Douglas Sirivardhana, presenting the proposal, pointed out that the students of the theatre school arriving from remote areas in the country have shown exemplary talents, and the Grade A certification has been granted for the school by the University Grants Commission. Pointing out that the importance of places including Kalapuraya has been diminished as the artists who receive the housing units from the government compelled to sell them after a period of time. The Prime Minister said that the attention should be directed on the acquisition of the housing units if the artists are selling the government-provided housing units in future. Secretary to the Prime Minister Gamini Senarath pointed out that a housing complex can be constructed for the artists in the undeveloped land slots in the Kalapuraya premises, and the Prime Minister instructed the authorities to look into this suggestion. During the discussion, the Prime Minister granted approval to conduct courses and drama festival in accordance to the mutual understanding between the Tower Hall Foundation and Sri Pali Mandapaya of University of Colombo. Attention was directed in providing foreign scholarships for the high-performing students of the Drama and Theatre School. A decision was reached to provide the funds related to the accident insurance covers for the artists while prioritizing the stage drama artists during the first phase of the program. Minister Janaka Bandara Thenakon, State Minister Vidura Wickramanayake and secretaries of several ministries and representatives of the Tower Hall Foundation were present at this discussion.
And meanwhile, former President Maithripala Sirisena reiterated that former Defence Secretary Hemasiri Fernando and former IGP Poji Jayasundara were responsible for Easter Sunday attacks. He made these comments while testifying before the Presidential Commission of Inquiry on the Easter Sunday attacks. Deputy Solicitor General representing the state questioned the former president whether his government was unable to curb Islamic extremism. Responding to the question, Maithripala Sirisena said that he was able to control the Buddhist extremism. However, he could not control the Islamic extremism due to certain NGOs and foreign missions which were acting to safeguard those extremists. He further said that due to this situation, he had to face many difficulties during his tenure. Deputy Solicitor General asked whether the infighting of the government became a threat to the national security, as mentioned by certain officials when they testified before the commission. Former president said that the issue was not affected to the Security Council or security forces. Maithripala Sirisena rejected the fact that he ordered former DIG Nalaka Silva not to investigate on Muslim extremism. He said that he never issued such an instruction. That the Deputy Solicitor General asked the former president whether the National Security Council was convened on weekly basis during his tenure. He said Security Council was convened on monthly basis due to the prevailing normalcy in the country. In 2019, Security Council was convened on January 14th, February 19th prior to the Easter Sunday attack and April 22nd following these attacks. Former President Sirisena said, and he also said that there is no legal status that the Prime Minister must be convened to the security sessions. He further said he asked former IGP Poji Jayasundara not to take part in Security Council sessions after monitoring his irresponsible behavior. Former President said Poji Jayasundara was not around important decisions on he never conducted a responsible deliberation at the Security Council. Maithripala Sirisena highlighted several examples for the reckless behavior of the former IGP. He said he informed the former Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe about the behavior of the former IGP. He added that they had a discussion with Ranil Wickremesinghe and former ministers Malik Samaravikrama and Thalata Attukorala regarding the issue. Sirisena said that former IGP had laid the commission by citing that he could not meet or talk with the former president. He said former IGP Poji Jayasundara was always with him at every function he attended. Then the Deputy Solicitor General asked who were the officials responsible for Easter Sunday attacks by neglecting their duties. Maithripala Sirisena directly appointed former IGP Poji Jayasundara and former Defence Secretary Hemasiri Fernando. Sirisena was silent when the chairman of the commission asked why couldn't the former head of state intelligence Nilantha Jayawardena had responsible for the attack. When the chairman repeated the same question, Sirisena only mentioned the names of former IGP and Defence Secretary. Then the chairman questioned that with whom the responsibility of intelligence information lies with. Sirisena said that somebody must inform him about the attack. Hemasiri, Poji, the Nilantha and Sisira were also responsible for that failure. Sirisena said. Meanwhile, former Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe also testified before the commission today.
Former Media Secretary to the Prime Minister Vijayananda Herath has been appointed as the new Director General of Media and Communication of Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa. He comprised the Media Secretary position of the Prime Minister following the establishment of the new government. Entering the mass media profession through the Department of Government Information, the newly appointed Director General has more than 25 years of experience in the media coordination and management field. He is a special honorary graduate of the University of Peradeniya and holds a Masters in Social Sciences from the same university. He is a diploma holder in mass media from several media institutions from the University of Colombo, while holds a diploma for human rights from the University of Peradeniya. He was also the media coordinating officer of Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa during his presidential tenure. He also assumed the media coordinating office position during the ministerial tenures of Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa. He was also the head of communications of the Employees Trust Fund Board and the member of Control Board of the Human Resources Development Institute. He assumed the chairmanship of the State Media Secretaries Association for a period of 8 years since 2006 and currently assuming the post of media advisor to the Media Centre of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna. Meanwhile, former Director of Foreign Media and Foreign Relations to the Prime Minister, Anuradha Herath, has been appointed as the new Director General of Foreign Relations to Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa. She was appointed as the Director of Foreign Media and Foreign Relations to the Prime Minister following the establishment of the new government. She holds a Master's of Arts degree from the Columbia University, USA, and holds a Bachelor of Science degree on Mass Communication from the University of Louisiana. She holds a Bachelor of Science degree on Mechanical Engineering from the University of Louisiana. She was also Director of Digital Media and Foreign Media of Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa during his presidential tenure. She was the media spokesperson of the Commonwealth Summit held in 2013.
A decision has been reached by the government to direct the Attorney General to take immediate legal actions to execute the recommendations of the Presidential Commission of Inquiry on the alleged finance and property irregularities of the Edhir Singh Trust Investment Finance Limited. Cabinet spokesman Minister Kehelia Rambukwala said that the relevant proposal was presented to the Cabinet of Ministers by President Gotabaya Rajapaksa. He made these remarks while addressing the media briefing held to announce the Cabinet decisions at the Government Information Department today. Cabinet spokesman Minister Kehelia Rambukwala said that the report on the Commission has pointed out several offences have been committed under the Company Law, the Finance Corporation Act, the Money Laundering Act, the Finance Information Reporting Act, the legal framework for the transfer of land or foreigners, as well as the Penal Code by the observations and recommendations of the Commission. Moreover, he said that the Commission has also pointed out need reform the non-banking finance institutions supervision department of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka, which supervises the regularities of finance companies. The Cabinet of Ministers has granted approval for the establishment of the Expressway Investment Company. Minister Kehelia Rambukwala said that the Rural Byways project covering 100,000 kilometers has been implemented, while the government has given priority to complete the construction work of the Central Expressway, inauguration of Ruwanpura Expressway construction work, as well as completion of construction activities of the Kalaniya to Athrugiriya Expressway, which runs on columns. He said that the Cabinet granted approval for the incorporation of a company owned by Secretary to the Treasury, with all expressways being taken under the company, allowing it to be eligible of collecting funds required for the construction of the expressways, while enabling to connect the direct income generated from the expressways as well as income earned from other income generating means related to the expressways. The Cabinet of Ministers has granted approval for the construction of multi-storied vehicle park premises in Colombo City and other selected cities. The project expected to be carried out as a public-private venture. Meanwhile, Cabinet of Ministers also granted approval to amend the Intellectual Properties Act No. 36 of 2003. Co-Cabinet spokesman Minister Ramesh Patirana said that there are a number of local products which can be promoted as geographical indications. He said that such products experienced as massive competition caused by the counterfeit imitations in the domestic and foreign markets. He added that it is appropriate to register such products in Sri Lanka as geographical indicators. Accordingly, he said that the legal draftsman expected to be advised to draft a bill to amend the Intellectual Properties Act to establish a comprehensive and definite legal framework for the registration of the geographical indications in Sri Lanka. The Cabinet of Ministers has granted approval to import the required quantity of special bamboo sticks used as raw materials for the production of incense sticks until the required quantity is produced locally. Tax relief is expected to be granted for the imported bamboo sticks. The government has decided to identify the existing locations of the plant to carry out relevant cultivations accordingly. The Cabinet of Ministers has permitted to import basmati rice under 3 state institutions in accordance to Pakistan-Sri Lanka Trade Agreement. 3 agreement state institutions include Sri Lanka State Trading General Corporation, Lanka Satosa and Cooperative Wholesale Establishment. Accordingly, 6,000 metric tons of basmati rice can be imported annually under the provisions of bilateral agreements. In the past, the private sector has also been given permission to import basmati rice. However, the government has reached a new decision considering the complaints lodged over various irregularities occurred during the process.
During the Cabinet briefing, Minister Kehelia Rambukwala also made remarks on the light railway project.
It was initiated by the government, previous government of Mahinda Rajapaksa administration. The feasibilities was done by them. And then they found that this is, okay, it's not a grant, it's a loan. Of course, it's a soft loan. But taking into consideration that's 27 kilometers distance, the experts have gone into the matter and they have found that this is not viable or this is not profitable to Sri Lanka. And that's a report that the Cabinet has received. Based on that, we have decided to hold it back and then perhaps do a further investigation on the matter and make the final decision.
The total collection of the COVID-19 Healthcare and Social Security Fund has exceeded 1,659 million rupees. Following donations made today at the Presidential Secretariat, staff of the Prime Minister's Office 82,906 rupees, Situmini Bandara 6,000 rupees, Welfare Society of the Gampa District Samurdhi Offices 100,000 rupees and Pensioners Association of the Bank of Ceylon 2.5 million rupees. Meanwhile, Shad and Jade have donated 207,851 rupees to the fund, while Venerable Ambilipitiya Tejasarathera has donated 5,000 rupees and Sri Lanka National Construction Association has donated 4.5 million rupees. Hettigoda Industries Private Company has donated 5 million rupees to the COVID-19 fund. Lanka Leyland Private Company, Colombo International Container Terminals Private Company and Taj Bentota Resort and Spa have donated sums of 500,000 rupees, 800,000 rupees and 525,000 rupees to the fund respectively. Employees Welfare Society of the Ocean View Development Limited has donated 226,000 rupees, while Visita Lanka Global donated 500,000 rupees and Consulting Engineers and Architect Association Private Company has donated 2.5 million rupees to the fund. Consumer Affairs Authority and Muttur Divisional Secretariat have donated 1 million rupees and 39,584 rupees to the COVID-19 fund respectively. Charles Pereira has contributed with 150,000 rupees to the COVID-19 fund. Many foreign and local donors have made contributions to the account. Donations can be made to the fund through cheques and telegraphic transfers. And donations can also be made through www.itukama.lk website or dialing #207#.
And with that, we conclude tonight's news. Do it us tomorrow at the very same time. Stay safe.